You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
Oh, have I got your attention now?
For lack of a better word, is good.
You know what I mean?
Money to be made in a place like this. Money never sleeps, pal.
You're crazy.
You know what it takes to sell real estate?
It takes brass.
I'm falling, and I can't get up.
All right, welcome to Money Never Sleeps Radio, and this is the show where we talk about anything and everything that impacts the flow of money from around the corner to around the world. And make sure to follow me on Twitter at Velazquez, and you'll get a front row seat to my insight, my input, my rants, my personal endeavors, and things of that nature. Now, let's move on. Let's talk about tariffs. Okay, tariffs, you know, they're impacting and going to impact a lot of industries that import or export. So that means, you know, a lot of companies are going to be impacted by what's going on with the tariffs. The tariffs are going to add a big expense to the tune of anywhere from 10 to 25%. That's huge. That is huge. This will eat into the margins of a lot of these companies and could put some companies out of business in the United States and overseas as well. You know, your price points are going higher and higher, and it's going to impact your employees and down the line. And again, it's not just for finished products; it's for raw materials as well. This is impactful. These companies that are going to be tariffed, you know, well, we'll use the terminology tariffed. Okay. Well, look, if they're exporting, just to open this up a little bit, if they're exporting, then it will just increase their price points for their customers overseas. They're going to have to charge more for the products or the raw material, and their customers are going to have to pay more because of these tariffs. Somebody has to pay the tab. It's not just going to go away. So that's going to be impactful. Those that are importing, well, a number of things are going to happen. It will increase their operating expenses, no question. This is going to decrease their profit margins. That's a given. To the point that some of these companies may flatline. Who knows? It's going to impact their growth. It could impact that growth. I'm not going to say it's going to, but I'm saying it really could. Look, if their profit margins are decreasing, then, you know, the next domino to fall is their growth. And look, it's going to impact the company overall. You know, how they run their business, how many people they can employ, so on and so forth. If you have less money coming in, well, guess what? You can't hire the people you want to hire. You can't be as innovative as you want to be. So that's the overall view of this. I believe in fair trade, but a trade war doesn't help anyone. So I believe that President Trump and his administration, they're trying to do something. They're trying to change the status quo. You know, what has always happened will continue to happen. That, you know, he's trying to change that, and I get it. And I don't think that they have I don't think they want a long-term negative impact on on any U.S. company. I think it's just something that's happening. You know, it's, I'm not going to call it collateral damage, but it's causality. You know, you have, one action that is creating another action, and that's what's happening here. So I'm confident that a deal that needs to be made for the benefit of both the U.S. and China will be made at some point, then it's going to benefit the world. And that way everything can be about fair trade. Okay, I don't think this is protectionism. I think it's more of, you know, everyone should get their fair share type of deal, and that's what we're looking at. So I think a lot of people, the media, you know, they'll go and they'll publicize things the way they see them. It's funny, I saw a video, it's with the hurricane Florence that devastated the Carolinas. There's a video, showing the media how, and I think Joe Rogan put it out there, where, you had the reporter. He was in the deepest end of the water reporting. Meanwhile, his cameraman was basically on the sidewalk. I don't know if the guy was in a pothole or whatever, but I just thought that was amusing. Don't always believe what you see. Okay, it's just how things are, and the media can paint the picture the way they want to, and that's that. Anyway, let's move on. Apple. Okay, their latest iPhone was announced. They had the big event, the big splash, and the sales demand is not what they expected. Tim Cook is doing a fantastic job in building the company, but their latest iPhone, two versions, the cheaper one and the more expensive one, the demand is not there. Not is there, but not what they expected. So all the hype and a $1,200 smartphone may not move the needle for this trillion-dollar company. The good thing is they have a few other tricks up their sleeve, which I like, such as the iWatch they have, the different functions, and their computer line, and so on and so forth, and they're getting involved. And from what I understand, they're looking to start making movies and getting involved in that deal and doing what Netflix is doing. So watch out. That's going to be interesting. That may be a game changer because, they already have the subscriber base. So it's a matter of turning the key if they should want to do that. And it'll give Netflix a run for their money. Should be interesting. Something that happened, I believe it happened over the weekend. Amazon is looking into some payola deal that happened overseas. Apparently, some rogue employee, a high-ranking employee overseas, they were making side deals with vendors and with information to have their products on Amazon in exchange for information, something like that. I don't know the details, but it's basically a reverse pay-for-play situation. I don't think that it will impact the stock too much. I mean, it's going to have some sort of impact. People right now with trust, it's a big thing right now. It's just interesting, to me, that a rogue employee would really think, and that there was a need for this in the first place. This is Amazon. They don't need to do it. So I doubt it's widespread, more likely an isolated incident. As I said on Twitter today, I think it's isolated. Cannabis companies, cannabis companies are on the rise. And I've been saying this for some time as far as the potential. And now it's starting to open up a little bit. And I think time is healing, and time is allowing people to get more comfortable. It's really becoming more widely accepted, and after all these years, people are just getting used to the idea. And that'll be good for small and mid-level legal cannabis growers and distributors in the United States. For those publicly traded companies, or those that will be publicly traded, they're going to gain interest from the investment community. There's no question. You have private equity, investment banks, brokerage firms, so on and so forth, investors. In general, they're hungry for new meat. They want that chunky piece of meat they want to sink their teeth into. And this may be one of those meals that they can feed from for a while, if done right. And the second meal that they'll be able to feed from for a while is in the crypto market. Okay, investors, look, you guys need to understand a bit more about what is value and what is just hype. And I want to put this in the context of stocks, because if you guys understand stocks, you're going to understand this. In the stock market, look, you have your blue chips, you have your value-added stocks, you have your true growth stocks, you have, and again, this ranges from stocks that trade on New York, NASDAQ, overseas exchanges. Okay, you have companies that are real and growing and so on and so forth. The last area is the bulletin board arena. Okay, where you find so much hype for companies that may be pure startups. Now, I'm not saying that all companies there are startups. I'm saying that you have a lot of them, and not that, and they don't have the value that investors were told that they have. So it becomes a high risk situation. And again, not all companies are like that on the bulletin board market, but I'm giving you an example so you can understand and you can kind of put it into the context so you can really understand what's going on here. In other words, look, you have a lot of companies, on the bulletin board that are pump and dump scenarios. I mean, you have them elsewhere, but here you have pump and dump scenarios where people hype up these companies and people are getting out of stock, and then all of a sudden, you have someone holding the bag at the end of the deal. Now, again, I have to reiterate this. Not all companies in the bulletin board market are like this. They're not. You have some good quality companies that are growing, and that's a entry point for them. So I'm giving the listeners an example so they can really understand it and understand how the crypto issues, those crypto coins, need to be looked at. If you're not looking at it that way, you're looking at it wrong. It's high risk, no question. But you have a small handful of cryptocurrencies that have significant value, utility, and growth potential. And I'll throw those in the NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange column if I had to. Okay, just again, to keep it within the context. And then you have your vast amount that are just coins with little to no value. Like, what are they issued for? What are they doing? Nothing. There's no utility. Okay, just a bunch of hype. You have some kid that made coins and they created a blockchain, and all of a sudden they're hyping it to high heaven, and they're getting a promoter to promote it, and so on and so forth, and has limited growth potentials. And those I consider your bulletin board coins, or even going to pinks. Those are the coins that are basically super high risk with no long-term reward. You may get trading reward on it as it goes up and down, up and down. At the end of the day, somebody's going to be left holding the bag at some point. Don't be that person. Just be very conscious of what you're getting involved with. Okay, and this is why, any cryptocurrencies or anything that of that nature that I speak about, I bring forward value, things that I believe have the utility, the growth potential, and that value for investors long term, for business long term. And that's a key thing. Are these things going to last? What are they doing? What are they doing that's going to make them last? And that's what you have to look at. Okay, so again, just be aware of that. Okay, and look, the SEC, they've continued to knock down any ETFs, exchange traded funds surrounding cryptos, and they've been knocking that out. And Bitcoin and other cryptos, they've been looked at as like an oh my god situation, like oh my god, there's no ETF, that means that the value is not there. That's bogus, that's bullcrap. Okay, you have value with a handful of cryptos. Just find those with value, and you're going to see how they're going to benefit you. ETFs, no ETFs, it doesn't matter. That's not the key thing. Maybe for a trader, so they can trade it. But for the for a growth situation, that's a non-event. Okay, Goldman Sachs, they canned their efforts in building a crypto trading desk. Okay, people thought that, oh my God, everything's going to crash, everything's going to collapse, there's a bubble, all this other nonsense, and that's not the case. They opted to line up investments in cryptos that have value and growth potential. So they're looking at the long-term event. When you're trading, is a short-term event. When you're investing and you're looking for growth, it's a long-term event. You have to look at things for what they are. Okay, so just be careful when you're looking at the crypto market. Too many sinking ships floating in the ocean. So watch out. You don't want to be on a Titanic. Okay, you don't want to be on that. And I want to close out the show. Lastly, Hurricane Florence, mentioned it earlier, has made its impact, and my prayers go out for those impacted. Now, business-wise, it's going to hurt North and South Carolina as their main cash flow comes from the ports. Okay, so it's going to hurt the communities. The flooding has impacted many of the businesses in the area, and the cleanup will take some time. You're talking somewhere to the tune of $20 billion, maybe higher. The industries are varied, and I look at those companies, just as far as business is concerned, I look at those companies that may be publicly traded that have a decent amount of business in those areas, because it may present an opportunity. Those companies may get knocked down temporarily, but once everything fixes up, you may get a bargain. Again, just my view. I would take a look at it. Okay, and that's about it for this Monday. Thanks for listening. We're going to be back with you tomorrow. Okay, as I said, we're going to be ramping up the shows. So we'll be back with you tomorrow for the next segment of Money Never Sleeps. Until then, you guys have an awesome, awesome trading day. Thanks for listening.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
You're listening to UCW Radio in your face.
What is your major malfunction?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.
All opinions expressed by Luis Velazquez on the Money Never Sleeps radio show and its website are solely his opinions and do not reflect the opinions of the UCW radio show or their parent company or affiliates, and may have been previously disseminated by him on television, radio, internet, or another medium. You should not treat any opinion expressed by him as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of his opinion. His opinions are based upon information he considers to be reliable, but neither the UCW radio show nor its affiliates, parent companies, and or subsidiaries warrant its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. The UCW radio show, Luis Velazquez, its affiliates, parent companies, and or subsidiaries are not under any obligation to update or correct any information provided on the radio show or on the website. His statements and opinions are subject to change without notice. No part of his compensation from the UCW radio show is related to the specific opinions he expresses. Please read the full disclaimer on MoneyNeverSleepsRadio.com.